Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to my podcast, Don't Get a Therapist Yet. And today we're talking all about doom scrolling. It's a very topical issue, and I thought let's do a bit of research around doom scrolling. So, how many of you have ever picked up your phone for a quick check? And then suddenly, 40 minutes later, your chest feels tight and your brain feels like it's buzzing. That, my friend, is doom scrolling. The compulsive pull to keep on consuming upsetting or alarming content, even though we clearly know it makes us worse. So today on the podcast, we're covering how big the problem is in real numbers, what doom scrolling does to your mood and concentration, and what chemicals are involved, and research-backed ways to reduce it. Practical hacks that you can use today. So, part one. How big is doom scrolling right now? So doom scrolling, it doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's happening in a world where we're online a lot. In the UK, Ofcom reports adults spend about 4 hours and 30 minutes online per day on personal devices. And guess what? The 18 to 24-year-olds average around 6 hours and 20 minutes. Can you believe that? My goodness, that's a high number. When surveys ask specifically about doom scrolling, research has reported roughly 31% of US adults say that they doom scroll very regularly, with higher rates among younger adults. Shocking, eh? And when researchers look at problematic news consumption, which is very closely related to doom scrolling, one study reported 16.5 of participants showed signs of severely problem news consumption. And those participants tended to have the worst mental and physical health outcomes. Yeah, it's a lot of research, isn't it? Very, very worrying. But this is not rare at all. Not rare at all. There is a modern, widespread behavior pattern, especially in high stress periods. And especially where the good old algorithm serves uncertainty to our brains all the time. So why is doom scrolling so sticky? Here is the key. Doom scrolling, it isn't just a bad habit. It's a loop made up of uncertainty, threat, and intermittent reward. So number one, the threat system. The brain treats negative news like danger. Bad news triggers vigilance. What's happening? Am I safe? What should I do? That pull puts you into a system where you're constantly checking behaviors. For example, repeatedly refreshing the feed. Intermittent reward. The feed behaves like a slot machine. So every few swipes, you might find something, say, important or shocking or relevant. That unpredictability is really powerful in our brains. Behavior science and reinforcement learning models explain why variable rewards can keep behavior going longer than predictable rewards. It keeps us on our toes, doesn't it? It keeps us on our toes. Don't I know it? And then dopamine, what it is and what it isn't. So it's important to understand dopamine isn't simply the pleasure chemical. It plays a big role in motivation, learning, and reinforcement. especially when rewards are uncertain or surprising. So that's why feeds packed with novelty and unpredictability can feel so compelling. We can't measure your dopamine at home from your phone use, but the behavioral mechanisms fits the way that the social feeds are designed. Okay, so we know through research and fact, it accesses our dopamine again and again and again. And it's not just the pleasure chemical, the unpredictability keeps it going. So what about the other chemicals? When you consume alarming content, your body can therefore shift into activating the stress situation. Think cortisol and adrenaline, noradrenaline patterns such as arousal, alertness, tension, and difficulty settling. So the research suggests that doom scrolling and problematic news exposes higher distress and poorer well-being. So, what does doom scrolling do to our mood? What do you think? We know that doom scrolling is associated with higher anxiety, higher stress, lower well-being, and lower life satisfaction in multiple studies. Many people also describe a second pattern, not anxiety, numbness. Here's an interesting situation. Doom scrolling can create two different emotional outcomes. Either you're wired and anxious, that's a threat system activated, or you're numb, flat, shut down, overwhelmed, emotional exhaustion. Both of these systems come from the protective response. It's not your fault. It's the way our brains work. It's really important you remember that as well when we go through these things. So what about concentration and brain fog? We know what all those things are. We experience those dailies. Well, I do anyway. Doom scrolling, you probably know this already, affects concentration by training the brain towards rapid novelty switching. Slow tasks, reading, deep work, a calm conversation can feel strangely hard after long stretches of emotional, intense, fast-changing content. There is more evidence around attention fragmentation, problematic social media use, and FOMO, the fear of missing out. The result is simple: more switching, less depth, and therefore more mental fatigue. So I'm just going to give a couple of little vignettes. They are made up, but they just illustrate some of these situations. So let's talk about Nadia, the anxious checker. Nadia is a professional woman with a high-pressure job. She scrolls news and social updates to stay informed. But really, it's a safety checking loop. She says to herself, if I stop checking, something bad will happen and I'll be unprepared. So what does doom scrolling do to her? Her chest tightens, her sleep gets lighter, her mind spins with what-if scenarios. She wakes up feeling anxious and starts scrolling before she even sits up. Well, what helped her? Cognitive behaviour therapy, a 7-minute daily update window, plus a worry page. Worry page is what's in my control and what's out of my control. So she was only allowed to actually go on the phone for 7 minutes. Okay. And then to take a single action after the 7-minute daily window. So she could say, for example, send an email, donate, make a plan, or set a boundary. And then the other thing she did, she agreed to let her phone stay outside her bedroom at night time. 3 things, not too bad. 7 minutes. After that, go and do something else, and then take your phone outside your bedroom at night time. So within 2 weeks, she reported fewer spikes of anxiety and less checking urgency because her brain learned that there was a safe, bounded time to get information. Quite simple. Number 2, Mark, the numb scroller. Mark doesn't feel anxious when he scrolls. He feels flat. After work, he collapses on the sofa and just scrolls for hours. It's like I can't start anything. Scrolling is the only thing that doesn't ask anything of me. What doom scrolling does to him, he avoids tasks, he skips meals, and he goes to bed late. So the next day he feels foggy and ashamed, and guess what? He then scrolls more to escape. So what happened? He used the skill called behavior activation. After scrolling, he took an action. Perhaps he had a glass of water, had a shower, 5-minute tidy, a 2-minute walk, something like that. He then actually set himself a 2-minute sunlight rule before the first scroll on weekends. So he'd go outside before he scrolled. He used compassion-focused therapy to stop his shame that he was feeling around his scrolling. So his compassionate part of him said, "This is hard, I'm not alone. One kind step at a time." So what happened to him? The numbness softened because action came first. His motivation improved as his routine became less avoidant. So well done. The third one is Ella, the late night insomniac. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this. So what does Ella do? She doom scrolls at night. She calls it decompressing. But of course, her brain doesn't decompress. It ramps it up. She says, "I just need to relax." But then I'm wide awake and I can't stop. What does doom scrolling do to her? She becomes wired. Her heart feels higher. Her heart rate goes out the roof. She gets stuck in just one more loop. And then the next day her concentration is really poor and she craves quick hits of stimulation. So what helped? She developed an if-then plan. So if it's after 9:30 p.m, then no news or social apps, phone charged outside the bedroom. Instead, have a wind down strategy. Could be a short podcast, an actual book, or a calming audio track. And then a strategy from acceptance and commitment therapy. It's called urge surfing. So just become aware that she has the urge you need to check, name it, and breathing through it, through the peak of the wave, and then just let it go. Her sleep improved once the cue, phone in bed, was removed, and her nervous system had a consistent downshift routine. So well done, that really helped her. So what we now need to do is how to reset the plan. What does the research say to reduce doom scrolling? I'm going to go through some strategies. You don't have to do all of them. You just need to, maybe I suggest pick 2. Your environment beats willpower. This is CBT. You remove the apps from the home screen. You turn off non-human notifications, so just automatic notifications. You log out of your phone and you charge the phone outside the bedroom. So these are stimulus control strategies to reduce cues and to reduce automatic behavior. Very, very simple. And then the if-then plan. You can set your own if-then. These are just some examples. If I'm in bed, then I don't open news or social apps. Or if I feel the urge to scroll, then I set a 3-minute timer first. So you just allow yourself not to scroll for 3 minutes. If I open the app, then I do it with a purpose. One topic, 5 minutes. That's it. The third tool, containment and worry time. Doom scrolling often disguises itself as a responsibility. So allow yourself, say, 7 minutes once a day to read the updates. And then write down, what am I really worried about? Is this in my control or out of my control? And then one action step. If it's out of your control, you can actually have a coping statement saying, this is out of my control. There's nothing I can do about it. If it's in my control, most of them are out of your control, then I can take one action step. So the idea is to shift from anxiety checking to you feeling more in control. Urge surfing. So this is acceptance and commitments therapy and mindfulness. We spoke about it earlier. So the idea is the urge is like a wave, and the urge rises, it peaks, but then it passes, just like a wave. Okay? So this is a 60-second exercise. And the idea is you notice the urge to scroll. It's in your body. You feel it in your hand, your chest, your jaw. Then you call it. There's the scrolling urge. You name it. And then you do some slow, gentle breathing for 6 cycles. So breathing in, breathing out is 1 cycle. Do that 6 times. And then imagine the urge dropping. The urge should drop by then. So that's a really good one to try. The next one is called the stop skill. So S stands for stop. T stands for take a step back. O stands for observe. What am I feeling? What do I need right now? And P stands for proceed mindfully. Choose one small action away. So that's the stop technique. Another tool is behavioral activation. After you close the app, do one action that supports your well-being. You can make a whole list of what you want. Stand up and stretch, drink water, step outside for a couple of minutes, message someone you love and care about. Your mood often follows the action. When you're low, the best thing to do is to try to do a meaningful action, however small. That will help you. Tool number 7. This comes from compassion focused therapy. It's called compassion reset. When you feel upset and shamed and embarrassed about the doom scrolling, you say to yourself, I'm pathetic. I'm a waste of time. And of course, the shame increases. Try to be kinder to yourself. Almost imagine that you're talking to your best friend and what would they say to you? And hopefully, if they're supportive, they would say something like, this is a tough moment, but you're not alone. Lots of people struggle with this, and we know they struggle because that's what the research says. And then I'm just going to encourage you to keep on going, carry on. It's okay. One tiny step. So that's what a friend might say to someone being compassionate. If doom scrolling has been your brain's attempt to feel safe, informed, or in control, then you're not weak. We're just human. We just have this tricky brain. So what I'm going to encourage you to do is choose 2 of the tools for the next 48 hours and see how you go. If you think other people might benefit from overcoming their doom scrolling, then please pass this podcast on to them. And if you're enjoying the material, please subscribe. Very nice to talk to you. I hope you enjoyed that. And thank you for listening.